What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Right before I get into this video, I want to remind you guys, as always, if you're watching this video, listening to this video, and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to Too Raw for TV. I want to thank everybody that has subscribed to my channel over the past several months. If you haven't hit that notification button, please hit that notification button so that you'll be notified of any and every video that drops on my channel as soon as it drops. And also, if you like or at least appreciate the content on my channel, please hit that like button. These are things that help not only my channel, but other channels in the LDBC, the Lions Den basketball community, be that much better. Um, if you want to show love for Too Raw for TV, if you want to contribute to Too Raw for TV, you can do so via the PayPal or the Cash App. And if you want to support Too Raw for TV on the Patreon, you could do so in the link for the Patreon for only $2 per month. On the Patreon, of course, we talk about stuff that I can't talk about on YouTube for obvious reasons. Social issues, issues that are important to us. You know what I mean by us. Politics, controversial topics, totally too raw, totally uncensored. And in this video, I want to talk about James Harden. I'm going to give him his props. He's found a touch as of late, for the most part. He's found a touch. And it can't really be argued that during the regular season, the James Harden uh, approach in Houston has its success. It does have its successful moments during the regular season. Right now, this is the most extreme version of Harden ball that we've seen. Last year, James Harden average, I think, was 36.2 points per game, I think it was, last year. But he failed to win the MVP last year, and it went to Giannis Antetokounmpo. So James Harden is up in the ante this season even more so. He's shooting the ball even more. He's getting to the foul line even more. He's shooting more three-pointers than ever before. And the result are offensive numbers that we haven't seen since the heyday of Wilt Chamberlain right now. Like I said, he wears number 13 for a reason. But one thing I don't like about his game is he's not, even though the advanced metrics say that he's an efficient player, but that's really due to flaws in their system when it comes to three pointers and free throws. Because he shoots so many free throws, the advanced metrics will tell you that he's an efficient player, but in reality, he's not an efficient scorer. Um, the other night, he scored 49 points, but he took 41 shots, missing 25 out of 41 shots. It's not good to miss 25 out of 41 shots and miss 14 out of 22 free throw attempts. Now, the past two games prior to that, he had been efficient. He had been shooting around 50%. But when you go up against mediocre teams, you can kind of get away with having an off game like that. But the thing about this James Harden ball, and I've said this before, it just doesn't really work when you have only one offensive threat like him and carry it over to the playoffs. It just doesn't usually work. You're going up against increasingly with each round a better team, especially on the defensive end, a better overall team. The team gets used to seeing you. You know what I'm saying? It's not just one game, it's a series. They get used to seeing you, they get used to seeing your tendencies, and they can better game plan to stop you. And if you can't make adjustments to that, if you're a guy that's shooting the ball 25, 30, 35, not even 40 times a night, when you're on, it's good. It looks great for the highlight reel. But when you have one guy going like that, other guys in your offense can't get into their rhythm. And even though Russell Westbrook is noted for not being a great shooter, and the spin most people are going to put on is like the last couple of games, Russell's been off because he's just not a good shooter, and which he's not. But some of that's because of the fact that James Harden dominates the ball so much that it's hard for other guys to get into their rhythm. We saw how badly Eric Gordon was struggling before he got hurt. He was only averaging 10 points per game on 28% shooting from the floor, way down from last year when he was averaging, I think, 16 points per game and shooting like 42, 43% from the floor. Um, I don't want to keep beating the same drum, but James Harden is a very let's just be honest, man. He's sort of a selfish player. He said something the other day about he's not consciously going out here and trying to. That's baloney. Come on, man. You could just watch the guy play, and you know that he's individually going for numbers. There are so many different games lately where the Rockets have been blowing out their opponent in the fourth quarter, and James Harden is still out there chucking away trying to reach his average or surpass his average. You know what I'm saying? Like we know what he's trying to do out there. So don't give me that shit. All right. There's a great article that I read too. We'll put a link to in the description box. It talks about the explosion of 50-point games over the past several seasons and the reasons behind it. And he was pretty much giving the reasons I've given over the past couple of years. The changes in the offensive rules, the explosion of the 3-point shot over the past really 5, 6 years. But I say since the 2012, 13, or around that time, we've seen a steady increase in number of three pointers attempted per team, and the pace of the game, of course. The pace of the game is the highest we've seen since at least the early 1970s. And you couple that with the fact that there's more teams than ever before, and defenses are generally limited, are handcuffed, and you got so many great shooters in the NBA now. The game is geared more towards shooters. We started seeing that as the league increased the inflow of European players in the league, so that it's no longer a league dominated by athleticism. Think about it. How many times now do we see games where, think about this, like when we were growing up, how many times did we used to see dudes on a fast break throw an alley pass for a slam dunk? Think about it. We don't really see a lot of alley oops anymore. We don't see the athletic aspect of the game as much anymore. Now we see guys on the fast break pull up for three. There's such an emphasis on a 3-point shot. It's I like the 3-point shot, but it'll be like it's sort of like the steroid era in baseball, or even right now with the ball being juiced. The home run was a great event, but it's so overdone now that it feels cheap. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's just so overdone now, so that its uniqueness is not as thrilling. Like a white woman with a big ass. When I was growing up, man, that was Coco. Coco was a rarity. Ice Cube's wife was like, whoa. Now she's like, okay, that's nice. But just think about this though, man. How many individually great scorers, right? Guys who put up big numbers in regular seasons. Wilt Chamberlain in his heyday with the Philadelphia Warriors. Rick Barry when he first came to the NBA with the then San Francisco Warriors. Nate Archibald when he averaged 34 and 11 with the Kansas City Omaha Kings. Uh, Bernard King with the Knicks. Jordan during his first couple years with the Bulls. Kobe when he was putting up 35.4 and the 10 straight 50-point games. And, you think of all of these great offensive years. Tracy McGrady when he was doing his thing with the Magic. Did we notice one thing in common with those teams, they didn't win. They didn't win. For the most part, a scoring champion doesn't win unless he's playing within a system and he's on a great team. The sole exceptions to that rule are guys like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, of course Michael Jordan, but he's Michael Jordan, and Stephen Curry. All right, they were all on great individual teams, historic teams. Actually, this ain't a historic team that James Harden's on. This is a good team, but they're not historic. And if you look at history in the playoffs, oftentimes these players underperform. They underperform because defenses are keying in on them, and other guys usually tend to not step up. I don't know if it's a rhythm thing, a talent disparity thing, but we often see that. All right. And until I'm convinced otherwise, I don't see this Houston Rocket team winning the championship. I can see James Harden potentially, winning an MVP regular season, which is something he seems more interested in than winning championships. But I could see easily a second round ousting by this team. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? Tell me what you guys think.